So, welcome everyone. Today we are driving into one of the most powerful yet often misunderstood tool in responsible investing, and that is called engagement and stewardship. That is covered in chapter number 6 of CFA's Sustainable Investing Certificate. And you will notice here the visual on the right shows three overlapping circles, yeah, specifically representing the key mechanism for stewardship. Now, individual ESG management in one challenge. The second side, if you will see the second circle, if you will see, that is where the whole thing starts. So the three circle overlapping circle, one is of course proxy voting, second is stewardship, and then there is a sweet spot in between which can truly maximize the influence, and that is stewardship. So individual ESG engagement, where you try to engage with the companies, right? Where you are making dialogue with the CXOs, board of directors as an independent director, talking about or flagging their ESG controversy. Collaborative engagements are also there, where people are engaging companies together. So they are bringing everyone, like investor, via different initiatives. आपने सुना होगा people are taking signature campaign etc. They take all that, and PRI Advance works on this area. Okay, they also allow people and encourage people to go and talk to such kind of company which has a red flag, specifically in climate or social or governance area, and that is called collaborative engagement. And then there is a proxy voting. Proxy voting is a formal method, which is where the voting on particular agenda in annual general meetings or extraordinary general meeting happens, specifically the shareholder meetings. And the sweet spot is stewardship. So think this for a moment. What does it really mean to own something? If you are owning even though you are owning a small share, but if you feel that you are owning that company for centuries, actually, ownership has implied responsibility in itself. That if you own something, like I am owning a glass bottle, that how much of carbon emission this glass makes or what kind of harm it can create to environment, individual and people also is my responsibility, right? Today we are going to explore that particular aspect of how the world most sophisticated system, right? And most sophisticated investors specifically today are reclaiming this connection, that even though they own 10%, 5% or 20%, but being an activist investor, and they try to engage with companies. And even nowadays, normal people are also aligning with them through these models and try to explore, not only the return matters with the companies, but also they look for future of our economy and society. And that is what this chapter talks about in essence. Now, if you have to define the stewardship, of course, let's start getting the terminology right. So there are three different terminology here, and I have used right now loosely all three of them. But let's define them. First is stewardship. Stewardship is nothing but using influence. Stewardship is nothing but using influence through leadership capabilities by investor. It is generally done to maximize the overall long-term performance or long-term value of the company. And notice here that it includes economic, social, and environmental assets, all three assets. Okay. That is what stewardship does. This isn't it about your portfolio. Okay. This is not about your own portfolio. This is about broader ecosystem around your portfolio in which your investment actually operates. So you also take care of those environment. Now, engagement is exactly a definition as it states in a name. Engagement is where rubber meets the road. It is a practical implementation stewardship through purposeful dialogues you do. And the key word here is purposeful. Remember, we are not talking about casual conversation with management or courtesy call to the board of directors who are operating the system. Engagement has a specific objective, often focused on improving ESG practices. Often, okay, that you want them to improve on environmental, social, or governance, and that can materially affect the company performance overall, right? So your focus is that you want to influence the company performance. Now, you will often hear a term which I have used as well loosely: active ownership or activist owners, right? This is used interchangeably with the stewardship. So stewardship and active ownership can be interchanged. This term beautifully captures the concept and it reflects the investor fiduciary duty. That I am an investor, but I have a fiduciary duty to make sure that my investment doesn't harm the environment. I own this glass bottle. That's the feeling should be there. Activism on the other side, right? There is another side, which is a critical distinction between activism versus stewardship. And they often get again merged. Look at the bottom box, right? Where the distinction has been done. What I'm saying is stewardship is consequence of investment. Simple. What responsible owner does is a stewardship. But activism, on the other hand, is a specialist strategy. And where there is few champions on whom there is a Netflix series which has been made. Have you heard about it? A Netflix series on an activist investor. Very famous one. Carl Icahn is that guy, okay? He is the one who called himself activist investor, and there is a Netflix series as well on him. Now, my point here is don't interchange them. Why? Because activism, on the other hand, is a specialized strategy which is aimed to drive a specific outcome, not long-term value generation. Okay? As specific changes they want. For example, they want to change the CEO, CXO, managers, etc. For outperformance in the market, maybe in short term, maybe in long term. So there is no fixation here for the long-term value. Fixation is even short term. So think of this as that you stewardship it like parenting, where you want your kid to excel when they become matured enough, and activism is the intervention. Clear? Are you with me? And the left side visual shows you that comprehensive nature of the ESG issue, spanning on governance, environmental concern, as well as social factors. Each of these areas represents the potential engagement opportunity for an investor with a company. Clear? Now that was the slide number 2. Now let's go to slide number 3, where the fundamental purpose of engagement has been talked about. So why we engage? Let's address that. Why we need to engage with a company? Company should be driving itself with a purpose, right? What is that fundamental purpose which is driving this practice today? And the reason is that graphic is very clear here, which illustrate the 3 key motive why shareholder engagement today is essential. The first one is ESG integration. ESG integration is the first one. Second is mission alignment. So my investment mission should be aligned with this. And this is covered in chapter number 9 as well. Okay. And last is the risk mitigation. Let me break them down one by one. First is the value preservation theory or enhancement theory, which gets into play through ESG integration. Always remember ESG integration for the value preservation or enhancement. This is fundamental. Okay. Engagement ensures your asset value is protected from neglected or mismanagement and enhanced through active dialogue. Think of it as a preventive medicine for your portfolio. How you should think this as preventive